Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about Denis classification, which is a classification used to describe spinal fractures. In this classification, we divide the spinal column into three parts or three columns. This classification helps to predict the stability and neurological risk, so let us dive into it. This is the spinal column, divided into three columns as shown here according to Denis: the anterior column, the middle column, and the posterior column. The anterior column consists of the anterior part of the vertebral body, the anterior part of the annulus fibrosus, and the anterior longitudinal ligament. The middle column consists of the posterior half of the vertebral body, posterior annulus fibrosus, and the posterior longitudinal ligament. The posterior column consists of the pedicles, laminae, facets, spinous processes, and the associated ligaments, namely supraspinous ligament, interspinous ligament, and ligamentum flavum. Now, knowing that if only one column is involved, it is considered stable fracture, and if two or more columns are involved, it is considered unstable fracture. However, if the middle column alone is injured, it is also considered unstable fracture, even though there is only one column involved, and that is because the middle column is the key load bearing of the spine. Now, according to Denis' classification, if we have a compression fracture, i.e., only the anterior column is affected as shown here in this radiograph, this is considered stable fracture. A burst fracture, however, is when there is anterior and middle column involved. It is considered unstable fracture. Remember, we said that if two or more columns are affected, it is considered unstable fracture. Seat belt fracture, aka chance fracture, is when middle and posterior column are involved. It is considered unstable fracture. And this leaves the dislocation fracture to be classified as highly unstable fracture because dislocation fracture involves the three columns of Denis and usually associated with neurological damage. Now, to sum up, this compression fracture is stable, burst fracture is unstable, chance fracture is unstable, and dislocation fracture is highly unstable.